The most powerful men in the world never hesitate to dress well, but most others are afraid to stand out, to attract attention, to seem too much. And this fear comes at a high cost, a very high cost. The other day, I was at an elegant event, a sophisticated setting, well-dressed people, the women stunning, impeccable dresses, perfectly styled hair, makeup on point. And the men, well, many looked like they had left the house on autopilot, wrinkled shirts, ill-fitting pants, shoes that had seen better days. The contrast was striking, and not because these men lacked money or access to good clothes. It wasn't a lack of options. It was a lack of boldness, a fear of standing out. Interesting, isn't it? In the business world, these same men want respect. They want to be taken seriously, to close deals, impress clients, make an impact. But when it comes to their own image, they retreat. They choose mediocrity. We live in a culture where a well-dressed man is seen as too much, as if caring about your appearance were a weakness. But let's be honest, dressing well has never been about vanity. It's about power, positioning, status. If appearance didn't matter, why do the CEOs of the world's biggest companies wear tailored suits? Why is James Bond always impeccably dressed, even in the middle of chaos? It's not a coincidence. It's a strategy. Now, the real question is, why do most men lack the courage to be the best-dressed person in the room? If you want to understand this, and more importantly, stand out while others stay mediocre, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a like. Because here, elegance is not a detail, it's a weapon. The mediocrity trap. Why smart men choose to dress poorly. Steve Jobs wore the same black turtleneck every day. Mark Zuckerberg insists on that plain grey t-shirt, and many use this as an excuse to dress like lazy interns. But here's the thing, Jobs and Zuckerberg built empires before adopting that uniform. They already had status. Do you? This brings us to an interesting paradox. Men who want to be taken seriously but refuse to play the image game. And here's the problem. The world doesn't read your resume before judging you. A Princeton University study showed that people form an opinion about someone in less than 1/10 of a second. Yes, before you even open your mouth, they've already decided whether you deserve respect or not. So your clothing isn't just fabric covering your body. It's a psychological shortcut that tells the world your value before you say a single word. Why do so many men choose to dress poorly, even knowing it hurts them? Some say it's about comfort. But let's be honest, is a well-fitted blazer really that uncomfortable? Or is it just another symptom of laziness disguised as authenticity? Others say they don't want to look pretentious. But since when are competence and success considered arrogance? The truth is, there's a silent fear, the fear of standing out. Dressing well requires confidence. It forces you to own your value, and that scares a lot of people. See style as a strategic tool. Just like you invest in your career, your health, or your relationships, your image also requires investment. The man who understands this always walks into a room with an advantage. The one who ignores it, well, he's still out there trying to convince the world that clothes don't matter. So, which one do you want to be? The herd effect, how collective mediocrity sabotages your style. In the 1950s, psychologist Solomon Asch conducted a simple but revealing experiment. He showed a group of people 3 lines of different lengths and asked them to identify the longest one. The catch: everyone except one participant was an actor instructed to give the wrong answer. The result? More than 75% of the participants went along with the wrong answer at least once. They knew it was incorrect, but didn't want to stand out from the group. Now think about how this applies to the way men dress. You look around and see everyone in baggy t-shirts, worn-out jeans and running shoes. And what do? You follow the crowd. After all, no one wants to be the only guy in the room who looks like he put in effort. This is exactly what happened to men's fashion. Standards collapsed. And here's the problem. When mediocrity becomes the norm, anything above it seems too much. A simple casual blazer is called a suit. A stylish shoe is seen as overkill, and any effort beyond the bare minimum becomes a joke. So what's the solution? Dressing well isn't about fitting in, it's about standing out. And those who stand out first lead. Look at great leaders and entrepreneurs. Do you think they worried about their college buddies making fun of their suits? Jeff Bezos, before becoming the richest man in the world, wore those loose, shapeless shirts. But after his status changed, tailored blazers, stylish glasses, leather, boots. If most men around you dress poorly, great. Less competition for you. The myth of discomfort, the lie that keeps men badly dressed. Everyone knows that guy, complains that suits are too tight, leather shoes hurt, and dress shirts are uncomfortable. Yet he spends all day in stiff jeans, an overly warm hoodie, and sneakers that don't let his feet breathe. Convenient, isn't it? As kids, many men were forced to wear poorly fitted formal clothes for weddings, graduations, and family events. But they weren't uncomfortable because it was a suit. They were uncomfortable because it was a bad suit. And so they carry this childhood trauma and spend their entire lives avoiding something they've never actually experienced the right way. Here's the reality. A high-quality suit, tailored to your body and made from the right fabric, is just as comfortable as any other clothing. A good blazer has structure but molds to your frame. A real leather shoe adapts to the shape of your foot over time. But many men never discover this because they'd rather believe the myth of discomfort than admit they simply don't have the courage to change. And here's the most interesting part. Clothes affect how you feel and how you act. A study published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology found that people wearing formal clothing tend to think more abstractly and strategically. In other words, dressing well literally makes you smarter. Dressing well isn't about fashion, it's about power. But power comes with responsibility, and that scares a lot of people. So the question is, will you keep making excuses, or are you ready to level up? The illusion of insecurity, how the right clothes change the game. Dressing well isn't about having the perfect body, it's about knowing how to play with the right pieces. But many men avoid caring about their appearance because they don't like what they see in the mirror. They think only men with modeled physiques can pull off sophisticated outfits. But if that were true, Jeff Goldblum wouldn't be a style icon at 71. For years, men's fashion has been marketed as something exclusive to those with the ideal body. Many men gave up before even trying. But reality tells a different story. There are cuts, fabrics, and combinations that flatter every body type. The secret lies in fit and structure. Want an example? Barack Obama naturally has narrow shoulders, but his tailor always chose suits with well-constructed shoulder padding. The result? An imposing posture and instant visual authority. Tom Hardy, on the other hand, has a broad torso and shorter legs. How does he balance it? Mid-rise trousers to elongate his silhouette. Now, here's the key point. Insecurity disappears when you dress in a way that enhances your features. This isn't just theory, it's biology. A study from Northwestern University found that what we wear affects our psychological state and confidence levels. Researchers called this enclothed cognition. Essentially, your mind adopts the behavior your clothing suggests. If you dress like a leader, you act like a leader. If you dress like an extra, you act like an extra. The problem was never your body. The problem is that you haven't yet discovered how to use clothes to your advantage. But the good news? Now you know. The only question left is, will you keep hiding or will you finally take control? The style ignorance dilemma. You don't know what you don't know. In 1999, Cornell University psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger published a groundbreaking study. They found that the least competent people in a field tend to overestimate their abilities. In other words, those who know nothing about a subject often think they know enough, and this happens all the time with men's style. How many times have you heard a guy say, "Clothes don't matter," while wearing a faded t-shirt and jeans that look like they were pulled from the bottom of a drawer? He doesn't see the problem because he never learned the rules of the game. Most men were never taught how to dress well. They rely on the excuse that style isn't important. But here's the problem. The world doesn't care what you think. It judges you based on what it sees. Now, the solution. Learning about style isn't hard, and it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to follow trends or spend a fortune on designer brands. You just need to understand 3 fundamentals. Fit. If your clothes don't fit properly, you've already lost. Neutral colors, black, white, navy, and gray. You can never go wrong with these. Versatile pieces. A good blazer effortlessly elevates any look. The problem was never about not liking fashion. The problem was never learning how to use your clothing as a shortcut to respect and success. Now you know. The only question is, will you keep pretending style doesn't matter, or will you take control of your image? The fear of standing out. Why smart men choose mediocrity. In the 1980s, a group of researchers coined the term crab mentality. The concept comes from observing a bucket full of crabs. Whenever one tries to climb out and escape, the others pull it back down. No one gets out, no one wins. Think about what happens when a man decides to dress well. He shows up at work or a bar wearing something more refined and immediately hears, "Where are you going all dressed up? Oh, you think you're better than us now? You don't even look like the same guy." This happens because the world resists change. Whenever someone tries to evolve, those left behind feel uncomfortable. But here's the real question. Why should you dress poorly just to make others feel better? Then there's the other excuse. I don't care about fashion. That would be great if it were true. But the reality is, no one wants to be treated with indifference. No one wants to be ignored. And, as confirmed by a Harvard Business School study, well-dressed people are perceived as more trustworthy, competent, and successful. The choice is simple. You can keep pretending you don't care about your image while still being judged, or you can decide to play to win. What's it going to be? The decline of elegance, how casual culture weakened men. In 1961, John F. Kennedy was inaugurated as President of the United States in a flawless suit and classic overcoat. The crowd? Men in sharp wool coats and stylish hats. Fast forward to any political or corporate event today. Hoodies, ill-fitting pants, and a parade of running shoes. What happened? Over the decades, culture slowly erased the need to dress well. Men stopped caring. Casual became the norm. Sloppy became acceptable. And here's the real issue. When collective standards drop, those who maintain elegance start to seem out of place. The result? Insecure men justify their lack of effort with phrases like, "No one dresses like that anymore," or "I don't need clothes to prove anything." But here's the interesting part. The people who truly run the world still dress well. The CEO of a major bank, impeccable suit. The billionaire who still wants to be taken seriously, tailored blazer, actors and politicians when they need to look in control. No hoodies. Now the conflict. Beyond casual culture, many men avoid dressing well because they dislike their own bodies. They fear a blazer will highlight extra weight or that fitted pants will reveal skinny legs. But the reality is the opposite. Clothing corrects proportions, elongates the silhouette, and projects confidence. The problem was never the shift in culture. The problem was that you accepted playing the game of the masses instead of using declining standards to your advantage. While others keep believing clothes don't matter, you already know the truth. The question is, what are you going to do with it? The cost of laziness. How habit keeps men in mediocrity. In 2004, a psychological experiment known as the Good Samaritan study put theology students to the test. They were tasked with giving a speech on compassion and charity. But before their presentation, the researchers placed a man in distress along their path. The result? Most students ignored the man and kept walking, not because they were bad people, but because they were in a hurry. Now, replace helping someone with dressing well, and you'll see the same pattern. Most men know they should dress better. They notice they are treated with more respect when they do. But in daily life, convenience wins. This happens because the human brain is wired to avoid unnecessary effort. Dressing well seems like work, so the worn-out hoodie always wins. But here's the problem. Habits accumulate, and what starts as "it doesn't matter" in style soon spreads to other areas: posture, ambition, discipline. The solution? Systems, not willpower. You don't need to overthink your outfit every morning if your wardrobe is well structured. The key is strategic simplicity. Blazers and shirts that always match. High-quality shoes that work for any occasion. Versatile. Pieces that make you look sophisticated with zero effort. So the problem was never not having time. The problem was the illusion that elegance requires constant effort. But now that you know how to bypass this, will you stay in mediocrity? Or will you turn your style into a strategic asset? The power of presence, dressing well, is just the first step. Have you ever noticed how most men would rather hide in mediocrity than command attention? Today, we made it clear that dressing well isn't vanity. It's not overkill. It's not too much. It's strategy. But here's the real question. Is dressing well enough? You can wear a flawless suit, but if your posture screams insecurity, you've lost. If your gestures show nervousness, you've lost. If your body language doesn't project dominance, no one will take you seriously. And this is where most men fail. True elegance goes beyond clothing. It's in the details. How you walk, how you sit, how you shake hands. You can have the best outfit in the room, but if you act like an amateur, you'll still be treated like one. That's why dressing well is only the first step. The next, mastering the mannerisms of the world's most powerful men. And for that, you need to watch the video 7 Mannerisms of High-Class Men. You need to copy How to Be an Elegant Man. If you're serious about this transformation, that video is a must. Before you go, a quick test. If you want more success, respect, and power, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button now. Elegance isn't just a detail. It's the difference between being noticed and being ignored. Comment below. Elegance commands respect if you got the message. Let's see how many truly understand the game.